Alright, I'm going to try to explain this as simply as possible. I'm no expert on anything, but alright, we want to know how the light is reflecting off the water. Alright, number one. So you can see how the light reflects off the water. Okay. It can act as a mirror. As you know this, if you get in a calm spot of the water, you know, if it's calm, or in this case, it's very windy this day, windy and cold, very cold, the wind blowing right through whatever you're wearing. But look at how the water is reflecting that light. So the farther back you go, it could actually do a mirror effect and be reflecting the sky. So where's the true horizon? I've got pictures of or video of objects sitting above this water line, and I contend that there's more water back there, but it's just being hidden by the atmosphere, humidity, you know, whatever you want to call it, but it is the atmosphere. That's why, you know, my camera, I can zoom out 746 million miles and videotape Saturn, but of course I'm not going to be able to zoom out and videotape Mexico across the Gulf of Mexico, only because of the fact that there's a lot of moisture between me and Mexico. So, you know, what I am seeing is a lot of humidity, a lot of distortion caused from all the humidity. So we're not going to be able to see that far. Plus two, you know, my camera should have a vanishing point, but you know, I question the video of Saturn. But as we look at this, I'll move around a little bit and show you how right directly underneath the sun, how much more the light reflects. You see toward the right, the sun isn't being reflected off the water as much as directly underneath it. That's the left side, or the right side more. I zoomed out. There's directly in front. Now look how the background color changes too. That's changing due to the different light that hit in the water and the angle of my camera. That's what's causing that difference in the color. But you know, you talk about a razor's edge. You know, the farther back we go on a tabletop, the edge seems to get sharper and sharper and sharper till you get to the very edge. Where the edge is, I'm don't know. Never been there, so I can't tell you. But somewhere back there, there's definitely more water. But what I'm concerned about with this video is the light coming off of the sun. As you see, there's something way back there in the background, very small. I'm assuming there's a couple of boats out there, a couple of guys fishing in some boats. So my camera's able to pick that up and see that, but they're way back there. Was that a mirage? I doubt it. Now look how the sun flares back up and gets bigger as I zoom out. You know, the sun seems to appear to get bigger. I've got another video showing this a little bit better as I zoom further back away from it. I don't think in this particular video I do, but I'm going to be making 2 more videos after this to show you how the sun light is, you know, it either looks bigger or smaller. Now I'm going to zoom in on it, and the sun actually gets smaller instead of bigger. And I was like, wow, why is that? You know, and it's like, you know, when you're zooming in on the moon, you've got this barrier of light that you just see, you know, a bright fuzzy cotton ball out there. And then when you break that barrier of light, you actually get in and actually see the moon itself. Now look at there, I'm zooming in and the sun is getting smaller instead of bigger. I would expect it to get bigger, but it does get smaller. What's that little speck under the sun? Not sure what that is. I looked at that several times. Look at the top of the sun right here in this part. Very strange. It's almost like it's being projected from out of the sky. Somebody said that's a lens flare, and I probably agree with you on the lens flare. I'm not too sure. I see some lens flares on here. So yes, we might get that appearance. As you look further in the horizon at the water line, you see how it's kind of dark. It almost looks like it's raining out there, but it's not. It's a perfectly clear blue day today on this particular video. Like I said, it was windy as all get up and very cold. So the temperature was not hot out there. Now look at here, I zoom in on it and it looks like a hexagon. Very interesting. Very interesting that this round sun turns into a hexagon. Now I'm going to zoom in real close and see how it's got bands of light around it. It's almost like when you hold a flashlight toward a wall. You get a band and a band and a band, and then you actually see the light itself that the light bulb is putting out in your flashlight. See how bright it gets as I zoom in? Now we're like trying to zoom into the moon, but I'm not going to break this light. I don't think I can get zoomed in to see what's under that bright stuff, but it's interesting. Now I'm going to zoom back out a little bit here. I'm going to get some little bit of a lens flare, and I'm shifting the camera left to right, and then I'm going to zoom back out a little bit, I believe here. But that's the size of the sun when I zoomed up real close. Now look how it turns back into that hexagon. A little bit of a hexagon shape, kind of round, but it's not perfectly round, with a big orange band around it. Zoom out a little bit more. And this was the whole purpose of zooming in and zooming out. Stay tuned for more. There's going to be part 2 and 3 to this. But you can see how this light is, giving us different bands of light. So what is the sunlight? Everybody says, well, you see it set, but I'm going to show you that it doesn't really set. In part 3, it's going to show this. But I don't do nothing fancy to my videos. I just play them as it comes off of my camera. That's how I load them, and what I see on my camera is what you see. They're not photoshopped or anything. So it's just straight film right out of the camera. So this next part to the video, it will be different, but it's going to be at the same time. I did these one right after the other. I might incorporate 2 and 3 together. We'll find out here soon. But I hope you enjoyed this and seeing the different shapes of the moon or the sun, how the light changes. So we got a little bit more here on this. It's about a 15-minute video. I know it could be boring, but it's also very interesting. I had this for a couple weeks now and didn't really look at it because somebody asked me if I ever zoomed in and out on it as it was setting, and this is why I did it, but I kind of forgot all about it. But you can see how the sun itself changes as I zoom back away. And if I zoom all the way back out, or as I look up over the camera, not looking through the viewfinder, the sun is appearing to be a lot closer to the horizon, or to the bottom. But look here, as I zoom in, it actually gets smaller, which is very strange. I would think it would get bigger, just like, zooming in on the moon. As you zoom in on that moon, and get through that light barrier, and then you actually see the moon, and then you zoom in on it. I can zoom right up on the craters. I'm sure some of you all have seen my moon video. It's very interesting when I zoom in on the sun and it gets smaller. It should be getting bigger. But you see the light bands all around it. So that's interesting. I'm not exactly sure. Like I said, I'm no expert at explaining anything. I'm just trying to give you what I see, and you all can make comments. Let me know what you see. Like I said, you think about zooming in on the moon. As I zoom in, of course, I zoom right up in on craters, and you get nothing but the whole moon in my lens. Now, yes, I could zoom up into this and just give you that big bright white light in the center, but you would think as I zoom out, the sun would get smaller, but in fact it actually gets bigger, and you will see that probably in the second part, maybe in this one. I'm not sure. Yeah, here we go. See how it got actually bigger? Somebody might say, well, it didn't really get bigger. Well, it didn't get smaller either. So, I'm zooming away from it, and you can still see the bands, and you'll see it on, when I do fully zoom back, how the sun is just a big bright ball right down there to where you can see that band of light go. Okay. Like I said, I want to put things in layman's term and put it in, tell you the way I see it, what I see on this video. What you see might be something different. I left the sound on here so you could see that it was windy, also very cold. Like I said, I was actually wearing a jacket this day. I'm standing there in shorts, shivering. But I actually was enjoying doing this video. But again, I kind of forgot about the different shapes that I was seeing in the camera, and the size difference. Here I zoom back in, and the sun appears to be smaller than when I zoom out, and it should be the opposite way around. So all these bands that you see around the sun are bands of light, and these light rays will give you, well, it's an illusion. You're actually seeing the sun right there, not when I zoom out. You're seeing all the light band of the sun. I'm sure you can understand that. Like I said, it's just like putting a flashlight up against the wall, standing away from it. You get this big ring with the light in the center of it, and then as you go in closer to the wall, those rings get smaller. And it's just a light ring on the distance of how far or close you are to the sun. If I zoom in on this sun when it was directly overhead, it would probably blind us all. Not through the camera, of course, but it would definitely be very bright, because it's much closer when it's directly overhead than when it is farther out across the ocean, Gulf of Mexico. But you can see how the sunlight trails all the way across, and look at how the waves get smaller and smaller and smaller, and ripple, ripple, ripple. And the farther away you get, the more of that mirror effect you'll probably get, where the water itself is reflecting the sky. So is there, water up higher? I believe if I leveled my camera out, wherever the level of my camera would be, I would be actually looking over the top of the water. So yeah, we'd have to, bend that camera down a little bit to see the edge, but I'm sure if I could zoom out all the way without all the obstruction, I probably would be able to see the water farther out there. The higher up I go, I would be able to see the water farther out there. So these ripples we're seeing at way the far distance, that could be hiding boats and all out there too. Because a boat can be small, and if there's 4 or 5 foot waves and you're down in the swell, I might just see you popping up and down out there and just assume that you're a wave. But You'll have to check out part 2 to this. There's some more interesting zoom in, zoom out. I zoom in and out a lot on this next one, so I hope you like it. I hope you like this one. I'm just trying to make things simple. Have a good night.